Hi guys, it's PJ, and it is a lovely morning. It is like warmish, not warm, but it's warmish. It's warmish, and like the dew is on the vine type thing. No crickets yet, you know, that's what I always say. I know it's almost, you know, going to be warm weather when you can hear the crickets. And then right at the end of the, like in October, they all come in my house for some reason. I don't know why. But I'll have crickets all over my house. But they don't come in the summer or anything. They just come in when it's like getting cold out. So anyway, I was glad that this winter we had a little bit of snow at least, just like a touch. It wasn't terrible. It didn't, you know what I mean? It was just enough for me to get my little snow taste, you know, and then I was done, which is fine. That's exactly. 95 has gotten so dicey lately. There's so much construction. Yeah, so I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, should I have put a garden together? Because I didn't. I usually put a garden together and then have it like in my kitchen until it's time to transport it out. But I haven't done that in the last couple of years, partially because of my back being so fucking awful. But also because I just like the upkeep and all that and all. Okay, so what happened was, you know my crazy neighbor, the one that won't do anything with his house? His trees are so full. I mean, so full. They literally make a canopy over my backyard. And I gotta be honest, I love it. So I didn't make a garden because if I make it where the raised gardens are, the raised beds are, they don't get enough sun anymore at all. Like I'm thinking of taking them down there and moving them. I would need Jeb, but moving them over towards the house, on that side of the house, because I could put like two there. Two of them are permanent because the one has the fig tree, and then around it is all herbs. I love that garden. I did not get to do that garden last year. I will do it this year. It is one of my favorite little gardens to play with. So I have that, and then right next to that is Jeff's hanging cherry, weeping cherry, and that was his tree for death. And under there is Mabel, which I'll talk about Piper in a minute, but under there is Mabel, and so I don't disturb any of that. And then the garden behind that, which is really in the shade, is permanent because it's railroad ties that they put in a long time, like before I even bought the house. So I want to look up like what's the best vegetable to plant in the complete shade, and whatever that is, that's what's going in that garden. I also am trying to do a front pumpkin garden because I really would love to do, like, wouldn't that be cool, like to have a pumpkin hill in the front of your house? I just think that would be so cool, where people could walk by and like see these big pumpkins. So I want to put that up, put that together. These things I have to research a little bit, but I'll get them. So then the two movable raised bed gardens, I would happily move them to the side of the house where there's always sun, because like trying to grow tomatoes where I've been trying to get, it just doesn't work. It's just shade, and you can grow a few, but they're leggy because the plants are trying to find the sun. I think that's so amazing. I think plants are amazing because they're these living, breathing creatures on earth that, because they're immobile, because they don't move much, we don't give them a personality. But I think that is so wrong. I think they have a personality. I do. I love that. I first off, I've always been like a tree nut. Like I love trees, and there was a couple studies that have been done about how trees think, and like should have blended that a little more there. Okay, and so the way trees think, and so trees, and when people say, well, trees don't think, no, they actually have a brain that's completely a chemical process that like changes. And so yes, they do make decisions. If they make a decision, do they think? If something makes a decision, is there a thought process there? There is. It might not look like yours or mine, but there's a thought process. So the thought process in a tree is like, let's say it wants to protect, because it's like, what's that called when you fight for your species, right? But that doesn't even work, and I'll explain that in a minute. But okay, so you can say, well, this is all because, you know, all things that are alive are pushed to procreate and make little more alive things, right? Okay, so that's true on a level. So when a tree, when the spring hits and you get the pollen denominator thing, where you like watch the Weather Channel and they're like, oh, the pollen is terrible in the air today. Oh, it's awful. You're going to be itching your eyes and this and coughing and all that, because pollen is an irritant to most human beings, like nose and eyes, especially in volume. So let's say the volume is going to be really high. The content in the air is really high. We react to that, right? But why is that? Why is some years the content low and some years the content's high? Why do trees make the decision to put out more pollen? It would be because in the coldest of winters, trees they assume something. Think about that. A tree is like, I bet my babies didn't live through, not enough of them lived through this winter. I'll bet you I lost a lot of saplings this winter because it is so cold. And I bet you, in order for me to replace those babies that need to be in the community, and I'm going to explain that too, I need to double up my efforts, because I have to not only put out the babies that I want to have this year, but I have to take in mind that last year probably more than half didn't make it. So I need to add to the pollen so I can add to the baby saplings, so I can have enough out there that there are always lots of baby saplings, and then the next stage and the next stage and the next. So that's a decision. Like, people don't make that decision for the plant. Their decision is, wow, it was cold. That probably didn't do well for my little babies, so I'm going to make more pollen so we can have double the little babies. But then they came up with community. Now, you say, plants don't have a community. Hold on, I got to do this for a second. Let's talk about community with trees. So a girl did this experiment, and she went and took, okay, so you know that trees exhale oxygen and inhale carbon dioxide. So what she did was she took I guess it's like a radiation, but like little tiny tiny molecule of radiation, and put it into, I guess, carbon dioxide, and fed the plant with this single, well, it wasn't a single, it was like this stuff that would show up, okay? Like I don't know if she did an x-ray. I really don't understand like that kind of part of it, but I do understand this experiment. So she went in, and there was this and she would find these trees, and around them were the saplings. In a certain perimeter would be their saplings, but there was also under each tree was a measure of other saplings and other different plants and faunas and things like that. So she dosed the tree with this certain kind of I think it was radioactive or I don't know, but a dye, almost like a CT scan, that you have the contrast. And she sent that through the tree so that she could go and see what the tree did with it, because she had a theory in her head. And so what the tree did after it took the extra on itself, like, you know, because she's dosing it with basically like a plant foodish kind of stuff, but it wasn't plant food, it was actually carbon dioxide, but whatever. So she doses it with this level that's higher, so the plant ingested some for itself, but more what it did was, through it's a tree, not a plant, through the tree's root system, it sent that same stuff out to a bunch of saplings that were in, and the saplings that it was feeding, that the mama tree was feeding its saplings through root systems, and the ones that the mama tree was feeding were the ones in the worst kind of situations. They weren't in the light much. They might have been in a rocky place, or like, because remember, it's like kind of where they land is where they end up. So because of that, she was literally nurturing the ones that were not in the best situation. And those are the ones that got the extra food source. And not only her trees, but any baby tree that wasn't her tree, that was a different type of tree, it also was helping repair and helping other trees in her little perimeter that needed help. So they send signals across root systems to each other, because even the mushrooms that are on the stump next to her are in her community, and she is the matriarch tree for these communities, where she sacrifices some of her own needs to enrich others' needs. So basically, like nursing not just your babies, but giving the sickly babies an added feed, and then even the babies that you aren't their mom, you gave them extra feed to try and help them along too. So there's this like kind of thought going on that if she wants to maintain her health and her saplings, she has to have that community as a healthy community. And that is trees talking. They talk to one another when they're in distress. Now, all the way they do it is chemical signals. So it's not the same. Like we speak, right? And some animals smell, like most animals, well, not most, but a lot of like animals can smell like health on another animal. That's why, like, your dog goes over to the next dog and sniffs its ass. It's not sniffing its ass because it likes to scent a shit. It's sniffing its ass to see if that dog is healthy enough to play with or to be near, because that's what nature said it should do. With trees, they don't have a nose, so the way they like the things that they can have for communication is chemicals. So they send out this chemical, and that's a distress chemical, and other plants and trees in the community will come and try and rescue and try and help. They will take what they have for themselves, the nutrients that they got out of the ground for themselves, and they will share it. So the next time you see them cutting down trees, like, yeah, they're screaming, guys. And there's even like videos of like when you cut off a leaf, the edge of the leaf still remains, even though the leaf's gone. The electromagnetic field that you cut into being a leaf is not repaired yet. So it is like it's screaming. It sends out these chemical toxins and whatnot to let other plants know, like, I need your help, I was just hurt, and they send stuff to try and heal them. So you tell me how they don't know. Like, of course they know. You would have to know. If you're going to make a decision on, yeah, it was a cold winter, I think this winter I need to put out twice as many pollens to make sure, like, twice as many saplings are good or whatever, then you are making a decision, and it might not look like yours or mine, but it's still a decision. And I don't know how I got on this subject, but I love it. But I did, oh no, my garden. So I did not end up planning a garden, but I do have like some vague thought about what I can do in my head when it comes to this year. I mean, I like to garden. I've had a hard time because of my back. Like, I can't garden for long. I can't get on my knees anymore. It just hurts too bad. So, somebody said, take your walker out there and turn it around and sit on it. And I said, wow, that's a good idea. So I'm going to invest in some tools that I can just sit there and, like, go back and forth with, like, I can't think of the name of it. I think it's called the garden weasel. But I could sit on my walker and turn around and weed that way. Stuff like that. I'm just going to find my way into gardening without needing to be on the ground, because that's what I can't do anymore. I just can't. So, but I love gardening. So I'm not starting it yet because I don't know if somebody will come up and move. Jeb made my raised gardens. I just need 2 of them moved. So if he would do that, that would be amazing. And then I would do, you know, some vegetables in those 2. And the other 2, one would be herb, and the other one I got to figure out exactly like the right thing to put in a completely shaded garden. And if you know of anything, please put it up here. Like, what's the best thing for me to plant in a completely shaded garden? Tell me. So anyway, I hope that you thought that was interesting. I believe you can get life out of all the things around us. There's so much life that we overlook. We think of life in one dimension, and there's like dimensions and dimensions, and then there's life on the other side of the veil, which right now, this is the time leading up to the solstice is when the veil is at its thinnest. So don't be surprised if you get visits or if you start seeing like shadow people. The veil is so thin right now. The other side is tissue paper away, like, and you can see that. Like, my problem is I'll see it all the time. I'll be like doing something and I'll go to like walk somewhere, and right here they are, they're right there. They're always in my peripheral. They like it there, and they drive me crazy because I don't know they're there, and then they're there. And the, like, okay, so there's a little boy that's been hanging around lately, and he has on a particularly orange and white checkered shirt. I don't know what era that's from, but it's a strange shirt. Anyway, I would say maybe 1950s, if I was to guess. But, I don't know. So this little boy keeps hanging around me, and the thing he does the most is scares me. And I don't mean like, ooh, I'm scared of him. I mean like he likes to do things like pop up for a second and then pop away. And you see it, you're like doing something, and all of a sudden and he wears this orange shirt. So it's like, boom, boom. And you're like, damn it, he was right there. So I decided to talk to him yesterday. I'm like, why don't you come talk to me? Like, I'm happy to click over to the other side. We can walk down the park. Like, just come talk to me. But he didn't. I like waited last night a little bit, but last night was crazy night. First off, I haven't slept because of Piper. I mean, to talk about something negative for a second, Piper is not good. And I thought that I might have weeks with her, and I'm thinking it's going to be days, because she is having a hard time breathing when she sleeps. She's like, and I can't, like, oh my God, I feel so bad for it. Then, and what it is the tumor is getting so big so fast, it's crushing her nose, which is just lovely, right? And then it's closing up her ear. So now, I don't know if you've ever had a dog that had like an ear problem where they like, all of a sudden they stand up and shake their ear really hard, or she'll itch it like really slow, like, oh, it's hurting, it's hurting. So now I'm like, oh my God. So I dosed her up today, because that's all I'm doing is trying to keep her comfortable and because she has no disease from the neck down. So she doesn't have anything in her lungs or her liver or anywhere, bones, nothing. It's all right here, but it's so bad. And I'm just like, why couldn't you just go slow? You know, at least then, you know, I would have some time, but I have no time because of how fast this is moving. And it's just so sad, and I just cry at the drop of a hat, and I don't know how I'm gonna get through this one, but I mean, of course I will. It's just very hard because these girls are my life. Cozy has pneumonia again on top of it, but like, that's nothing new. But I'm just like, can I have a break? And then I think of my friend who has not been given a break, and who I feel needs so much support right now, and uplifting, and thinking about other things, that I just keep trying to do that with my friend. Because like, she's just amazing to me. She's a very brave person. So anyway, so last night I was like asleep, and I was dreaming about having like helicopter lessons or something. And then my mom called, and I started talking to her, and I literally went back into the dream. And she's like, what are you, a lunatic? And I was asleep, and everybody kept calling me last night, and I was so tired because I haven't slept in so long. I was so fucking tired. And then it sounds like I'm doing acid or something. So I would like wake myself up, and I was talking about helicopters, and I'm like, what did I just say? And Kimmy was like laughing at me, like, oh my God, girl, go to bed. I was so tired. I'm so tired today from that, because then I realized I was doing it, so I was like trying to stay awake. So I ended up being awake until like 1, and then I woke up at 5, because that's about what time I think her medicine wears off, and she starts like moving around and getting uncomfortable. So anyway, that's what's been going on. So anyway, I love you guys, and yeah, I'm probably gonna do a garden, and you'll probably see it, but hopefully I can get Jeb up there, and it'll be a little different of a garden, you know, because we haven't changed the area in so long, so that'd be cool too. All right, I love you. Take care. Bye.